Lockheed Martin, the biggest defense contractor on Earth and the undisputed king of the fighter jet. No company in history has shaped modern air power like this one. Lockheed builds the F-16 Fighting Falcon, one of the most successful fighters ever made, with over 4,600 built since the 1970s and a production line still running today in South Carolina, churning out new jets for foreign air forces nearly half a century after its debut. It builds the F-22 Raptor, the first fifth-generation fighter in the world, an aircraft so advanced when it arrived that nothing could touch it, and so expensive that production was cut off at just 195 aircraft, a decision the Air Force arguably came to regret. And then there's the F-35 Lightning II, the aircraft that swallowed everything. The F-35 is the most expensive weapons program in human history, with lifetime costs now projected to exceed $2 trillion. It has been mocked for delays, cost overruns, and software problems for the better part of 2 decades, and yet it works, and the world is buying it. Whatever you think of the price tag, the F-35 is now the standard Western fighter of its generation, flown by a coalition of nations bound together by a single airframe. Lockheed Martin does not just build fighter jets, it builds the jets that most of the free world flies, and in doing so, it has made itself almost impossible to replace. Aviation Industry Corporation of China, known as AVIC, the state colossus that is arming China's rise and pumping out stealth fighters at a pace the West can barely believe. AVIC was formed in its current shape in 2008, when China merged its 2 state aircraft makers into a single sprawling conglomerate. And today, it employs hundreds of thousands of people and posts revenues comparable to the biggest defense firms on Earth. Its crown jewel is the Chengdu J-20, China's first operational stealth fighter, and for now, the only 5th-generation fighter anywhere outside the United States. When it first appeared, Western analysts assumed China would struggle to build it in numbers. They were wrong. Estimates suggest China was producing somewhere around 100 to 120 J-20s a year by 2025, a rate that rivals or exceeds American stealth production. Alongside it, AVIC builds the J-10, a nimble, single-engine fighter that has become a workhorse export, and it's already flying prototypes of a new generation beyond the J-20. There's a catch, and it's a serious one. China's fighters have long depended on engines it struggled to build itself, and closing that gap has been the program's hardest problem. But the trajectory is unmistakable. AVIC has gone from copying and importing to mass-producing frontline stealth fighters in barely 2 decades. It's not yet the equal of the American giants in every respect, but it's the only manufacturer on the planet building 5th-generation fighters at industrial scale to challenge them. BAE Systems, the British defense heavyweight that no longer builds a fighter entirely on its own, but has its hands inside almost every major program in the Western world. BAE is Europe's largest defense company, and its aviation strategy is built on partnership rather than going it alone. It is one of the 4 industrial pillars behind the Eurofighter Typhoon, a program launched in 1986 by Britain, Germany, Italy, and Spain to build a shared air superiority fighter with each nation running its own final assembly line. Roughly 600 Typhoons have been built, and it remains the backbone of several European air forces. But BAE's more interesting bet is on the F-35. It is one of only 3 principal partners on the entire program, building the rear fuselage of every single F-35 produced anywhere in the world, holding a work share of around 13 to 15% of each aircraft. Think about that. Every F-35 that Lockheed Martin delivers in any country carries a major British-built section. BAE does not own a headline aircraft the way Dassault owns the Rafale. Instead, it embedded itself so deeply in the 2 biggest fighter programs in the Western Hemisphere that it profits from both, quietly on almost every jet that rolls out. Northrop Grumman, the American company that builds the rarest and most secretive aircraft in the world. Machines so expensive and so classified that most people will never see one fly. Northrop's specialty is the flying wing, the eerie, tailless bomber shape that has become its signature. Its masterpiece was the B-2 Spirit, the stealth bomber that first flew in 1989 and looked like nothing else in the sky. It was a triumph of engineering and a financial monster. Each B-2 cost so much that the planned fleet of 132 aircraft was slashed to just 21 aircraft, making it one of the most expensive aircraft ever built by weight. Only one has ever been lost. For years, that was the story, a tiny fleet of irreplaceable bombers, too precious to risk. Then came the sequel. In 2015, Northrop won the contract for the B-21 Raider, a next-generation stealth bomber designed to be built in real numbers, at least 100 aircraft, at a unit cost of around $700 million, a fraction of what the B-2 cost. It made its first flight in late 2023, and its flight test campaign has reportedly run ahead of schedule, a genuine rarity in modern aerospace. Northrop doesn't sell thousands of aircraft. It sells a handful of the most advanced flying machines humanity has ever produced. And right now, it's the company delivering the future of long-range strike while everyone else is still fixing their present. The Boeing Company, the American titan whose civil airliner business has stumbled from crisis to crisis, but whose defense division quietly kept it in the fight. Everyone knows the story of Boeing's troubled commercial business. Fewer people realize how much of Boeing is military. Its defense arm builds an extraordinary spread of hardware. The F-15EX Eagle II, a brand new version of a fighter designed in the 1970s, now rebuilt with modern systems, and still one of the most capable non-stealth fighters flying. The F-A-18EF Super Hornet, the workhorse of the U.S. Navy's carrier decks, though its production line is now winding down towards closure after the Navy's final orders, with no export buyer left to save it. The AH-64 Apache, the most feared attack helicopter in the world, in service across dozens of countries. And the KC-46 Pegasus, a military tanker built from the 767 airliner that was supposed to be a straightforward job and instead became a disaster of its own, plagued with faults in its refueling boom and remote vision system, halted deliveries, and billions of dollars Boeing had to swallow. That's the pattern with Boeing Defense. Legendary machines and painful programs side by side. It remains one of the 2 or 3 most important military aircraft makers on the planet. The question hanging over it is the same one hanging over the whole company, whether it can rebuild the engineering discipline it was once famous for. Dassault Aviation, the French firm that spent years without a single foreign buyer and then became the hottest name in the fighter market. Dassault was founded by Marcel Dassault, an engineer who survived a Nazi concentration camp and went on to build France's first supersonic jets. The company's modern icon is the Rafale, a twin-engine, multi-role fighter that can do almost anything: fly from an aircraft carrier, drop nuclear weapons, and dogfight, all in one airframe. For most of its life, that versatility went unrewarded. The Rafale first flew in 1986 and entered French service in the 2000s, and for years, Dassault could not sell a single one abroad. Competitors mocked it as too expensive and too French. Then everything changed. Starting with Egypt in 2015, the export orders came in a flood. India, Qatar, Greece, Croatia, the UAE, and Indonesia all signing on. By the end of 2025, Dassault was sitting on a backlog of 220 Rafales, most of them for export, and delivering more of them each year than ever before. The aircraft nobody wanted for 2 decades is now one of the most sought-after fighters on Earth, and Dassault, unlike almost everyone else in this video, does it alone, refusing to merge into any consortium. Airbus Defence and Space, the defense arm of Europe's commercial aviation champion and the company that built a military transport aircraft so troubled it nearly collapsed the whole project. Airbus's civil side dominates the airliner market, but its defense division has a very different story. Its flagship is the A400M Atlas, a 4-engine turboprop military transporter designed to replace the aging fleets of half a dozen European air forces, hauling troops, vehicles, and helicopters into rough forward airfields no jet could reach. It was meant to be Europe's proud answer to American airlifters. Instead, it became a case study on how badly a multinational program can go wrong. 7 nations placed the launch order, each demanding different requirements, and the aircraft blew through its budget by billions of euros and fell years behind schedule. By 2009, the program was over 5 billion euros over budget and facing outright cancellation. The A400M eventually entered service in 2013, and now is a genuinely capable machine, flying with air forces across Europe and beyond. But the near-death experience left scars. Airbus Defence also co-develops European fighter systems and is a partner in the Eurofighter, and it's now betting its future on the next-generation combat aircraft Europe is trying to build. The A400M taught it exactly how painful that road can be. Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, India's state-owned aerospace giant and the company carrying the entire weight of a nation's ambition to build its own fighter jets. Founded all the way back in 1940, decades before most of its rivals even existed, HAL has spent most of its life assembling other people's aircraft on their license, screwing together Soviet MiGs and Russian Sukhois for the Indian Air Force. Its own flagship is the Tejas, a small, lightweight, single-engine fighter that India designed to prove it could stand on its own. The trouble is how long it took. The Tejas program began in the 1980s. The aircraft did not make its first flight until 2001, and it did not enter service until 2015. HAL also assembles the Su-30 MKI, the backbone heavy fighter of the Indian Air Force, built under license from Russia in enormous numbers. On paper, HAL is exactly what India wants, a national champion that keeps defense spending at home. In practice, it is dogged by delays. The upgraded Tejas Mk1A has slipped repeatedly, held up by engine deliveries and weapons integration, and the more advanced Mk2 has been pushed years into the future. HAL is not a failure, it is a country learning, slowly and expensively, how to build a modern fighter from the ground up. Whether it can ever do it fast enough is the open question.